loves, and welcome to today's video. It is a new month, and that means a new TBR stack for me to attempt to read in the month of March. So let's get into it. The first three I'll go over very quickly because they are holdovers from February that I didn't get to. That is Dead and Gone, the next book in the Sookie Stackhouse True Blood mystery series. We'll Save the Galaxy for Food by Yahtzee Croshaw. This is a satirical sci-fi adventure. And Moving Pictures by Terry Pratchett. This is the next book for me in the Discworld series. If you want plot summaries, go and check out my February TBR. I had a little bit of a February reading slump, so I hadn't got to these yet, but I will be attempting to get to them now in March. And then piggybacking on that, if I finish Dead and Gone, I will also be reading Dead and the Family. This is the next book after Dead and Gone in the Sookie Stackhouse series. Vampires, romance, werewolves, fairies, etc. Also in March, I am going to an NHL game, and to get myself into the vibe, I am going to read Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. This is a romance novel between a figure skater and a hockey player. I have heard some mixed things about this. Some people say it's really good. Some people say it's kind of weird, and I'm not usually that much of a romance reader, but we'll have to see how this one works out for me and at least get me in the right head frame to go watch a hockey game. The next book is from the library, and that is I Survived Capitalism, and all I got was this lousy t-shirt by Madeline Pendleton. This is a TikToker that I follow who is an apparel designer, owns her own fashion brand, and also has some very interesting feelings about capitalism and the way corporations can and should be run. So this is her book on personal finance. I'm interested in reading it as someone who had a little bit of an obsession with money as a child. I'm interested to see how this goes, and maybe I'll get some good tips on how to handle my finances. The hold I have been waiting on for a while came in, and that is Silver Nitrate by Silvia Moreno Garcia. This is a horror novel set in Mexico City in the 1990s, set in the film industry, about some kind of cursed film. And being a film scholar, as I like to call myself jokingly because I have a film degree, I am interested in historical cinema, and also I love horror. And I didn't get to read a lot of horror this month, so I'm excited to dig into this one. I had kind of mixed feelings about Mexican Gothic, so I'm hoping that maybe something set in a bit more of an area that I'm interested in, that this one will be a bigger hit for me. And sticking with books in the 90s theme, we have Dead 11 by Jimmy Giuliano. This is a horror novel about a woman whose son has died, and in his room she finds this piece of paper with like the name of an island stuck on it. She travels to the island and finds that everybody there is like stuck in 1994. And since it's a horror novel, I'm assuming it's not as fun as I would think in my head, being a 90s baby. I'm very interested. It is allegedly specifically 1994, which is the year I was born. I hope it's a vibe. That's what I'm hoping for. Next is a book I'm reading for the Literally Dead book club. I think it's April's pick, and that is Nightwatching by Tracy Sierra. In this book, there is a mother who's at a remote cabin with her two children, and some man walks in, and she has to hide herself and her children in a very small room while this man's prowling around the house and tries to convince them to come out in the open. I'm gonna hopefully vibe with it, and I'm excited to get started on it. This is, I think, my second 2024 release of the year. So let's hopefully get cracking on that. And the last book on my TBR for March is probably the one I am most excited for, because I was meeting a friend for dinner on a Friday evening. I showed up early. There was a used bookstore around the corner, so I'm like, I'm going to go in, but there is only one book I am allowed to buy. If I don't find this singular book, I must leave empty-handed. And I found it. And that is Quag Keep by Andre Norton. This is the first novel to be set in the Dungeons & Dragons universe. It's so early in the existence of Dungeons & Dragons, it doesn't even say Dungeons & Dragons on the cover because nobody would have known what that was at the time. I briefly flirted with the idea of collecting all of the Dungeons and Dragons novels until I realized there's like 1,200 of them. I can at least own the first one and justify doing that. I'm very excited to read this, and I still can't believe that I managed to find it when it was the only thing I was going to allow myself to buy. That seemed like fate to me, so I will let you guys know how that goes for me. So this is my stack that I intend to read in the month of March. We've got some series on here and playing a bit of catch up from February. We got some horror, which I feel like I haven't really done much of in February, so I'm excited to return a bit to one of my favorite genres. We also have a holy grail, my white whale. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing, and leave a comment down below of what books you are planning to read for March. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day!